Have you ever looked at people who seem to attract opportunities effortlessly and wondered what they know that you don't? Maybe you've seen someone land the perfect job at exactly the right time. Someone who always seems to meet the right people. Someone who somehow finds themselves in the right place when opportunities appear. Meanwhile, you feel like you're doing everything you can just to stay in the same place. You work hard. You try to stay positive. You make plans. You set goals. Yet financial progress feels frustratingly slow. When people first discover manifestation, abundance frequencies, or subconscious reprogramming, one question usually comes up almost immediately. Can anyone use this to attract money? Or does it only work for certain people? Maybe you have wondered the same thing. Perhaps you've thought that successful people have some hidden advantage. Maybe they're naturally gifted. Maybe they grew up with better opportunities. Maybe they were simply lucky. And while circumstances certainly matter, there is something else worth understanding. Many people underestimate how much their internal patterns influence their financial reality. Not because thoughts magically create money, but because thoughts influence actions. Actions influence decisions. Decisions influence opportunities. And opportunities influence outcomes. Think about it for a moment. Imagine two people facing the exact same opportunity. One immediately sees potential. The other sees risk. One feels confident enough to take action. The other hesitates. One believes success is possible. The other assumes failure is likely. Months later, their lives may look completely different. Not because the opportunity was different, because their response was different. This is where the conversation becomes interesting, because attracting money often starts long before money appears. It starts with how you perceive yourself, how you perceive opportunities, and how you respond to uncertainty. Most people spend years carrying subconscious beliefs they never consciously chose. Beliefs about money, beliefs about success, beliefs about wealth, beliefs about what they deserve. Many of these beliefs were formed during childhood. Others were picked up from family members, friends, teachers, culture, and life experiences. Some people grow up hearing things like, "Money is hard to make. Rich people are greedy. People like us never get ahead. You have to struggle your entire life. Success is for other people." After hearing these messages repeatedly, they begin to feel true. Not because they're facts, because they're familiar. The subconscious mind doesn't care whether a belief is helpful. It only cares whether the belief has been repeated enough times to become automatic. Once a belief becomes automatic, it starts influencing behavior. Someone who believes opportunities are rare may stop looking for them. Someone who believes wealth is unattainable may avoid taking action. Someone who believes success belongs to other people may unconsciously sabotage themselves whenever progress appears. This happens far more often than most people realize. The strange part is that the person usually isn't aware of it. From their perspective, they're simply reacting to life. But underneath the surface, old programming is quietly directing their choices. This is one reason people become interested in practices that help shift subconscious patterns. Meditation, visualization, journaling, affirmations, breathwork, sound frequencies. Different people prefer different methods, but the goal is often similar: to create a new mental environment, to interrupt old patterns, to make new perspectives possible. And that's where the question becomes important. Can anyone use these tools? The answer is surprisingly simple. Yes, because every human being has a subconscious mind. Every human being has habits. Every human being develops patterns. And every human being has the ability to influence those patterns over time. The process isn't reserved for a special group of people. You don't need perfect beliefs. You don't need extraordinary intelligence. You don't need a particular background. You don't need years of experience. You don't need to be naturally optimistic. You simply need the willingness to expose your mind to new patterns consistently. Think about how learning works. Nobody is born knowing how to drive a car. Nobody is born knowing how to play an instrument. Nobody is born knowing how to manage money. Skills are developed through repetition. The brain adapts. New neural pathways form. What once felt difficult becomes automatic. The same principle applies to mental conditioning. The brain is constantly learning, constantly adapting, constantly changing, even now, whether you're aware of it or not. The problem is that most people allow random influences to shape their thinking. News headlines, social media, stress, fear, negativity, financial pressure. All of these inputs affect mental state, and mental state affects behavior. When someone feels overwhelmed, their attention narrows. They become focused on immediate survival. Long-term thinking becomes harder. Creativity decreases. Confidence drops. Risk tolerance shrinks. Opportunity recognition weakens. The brain becomes defensive, protective, reactive. This is completely normal. It's how the nervous system works. The challenge is that abundance often requires a different state. A state where you're alert but not overwhelmed, focused but not fearful, open rather than defensive. This is why so many personal development practices focus on changing state before changing circumstances. Because state influences behavior, and behavior influences results. Many people who begin using sound-based relaxation practices report something interesting. The first thing they notice isn't money. It's calmness, better sleep, improved focus, reduced mental noise, greater clarity. At first, these changes may seem unrelated to wealth, but they often create the foundation for better decisions. A calmer person tends to think more clearly. A clearer thinker tends to recognize opportunities more easily. A person who notices opportunities is more likely to take action, and action is where results begin. This doesn't mean every opportunity becomes a success. Life doesn't work that way, but it does mean you're more likely to see possibilities that previously went unnoticed. This is one reason some people appear lucky. They're not necessarily receiving more opportunities. They're recognizing more opportunities. There's a difference. Imagine walking through a crowded room. If you're distracted, you might miss someone important trying to speak with you. If you're focused and present, you'll notice them immediately. The opportunity existed in both situations. Your awareness determined whether you recognized it. The same principle applies throughout life. Every day contains opportunities. Some are small, some are significant. Most people miss many of them. Not because they aren't there, because attention is elsewhere. This is why practices that improve awareness can be so valuable. Whether that's meditation, whether that's sound frequencies, whether that's journaling, whether that's visualization. The specific method matters less than the effect it creates. A more focused mind notices more. A calmer mind sees more. A present mind responds more effectively. Now let's address another common concern. Many people wonder whether skepticism prevents results. Perhaps you've thought the same thing. Maybe you've heard people talk about manifestation and felt doubtful. That's understandable. Healthy skepticism is not a problem. In fact, it's often beneficial. Blind belief isn't required for personal growth. Curiosity is enough. You don't have to assume everything works perfectly. You don't have to accept every claim you hear. You simply need to remain open to experience. Think about exercise. A person doesn't need to believe in muscles for exercise to work. The body responds to repetition. The same principle applies to many mental practices. You don't have to force belief. You simply engage with the process and observe the results. Many people are surprised by what happens when they approach things this way. Without pressure, without expectations, without trying to convince themselves. They simply remain consistent. And over time, they notice changes, sometimes subtle, sometimes significant. This brings us back to the original question. Can anyone use this to attract money? If by this, we mean practices that improve focus, awareness, emotional regulation, and subconscious conditioning, then yes. Anyone can use them. Anyone can learn them. Anyone can benefit from them. Will everyone become a millionaire overnight? Of course not. No legitimate method can promise that. But can anyone begin developing the mental environment that supports better decisions, stronger habits, and greater opportunity recognition? Absolutely. And that's often where meaningful change begins. The reality is that wealth rarely appears because of one dramatic moment. More often, it emerges through a series of better decisions, better habits, better opportunities, better responses. Those small improvements accumulate. One opportunity leads to another. One skill leads to another. One breakthrough creates momentum. Eventually, what once seemed impossible begins to feel normal. And it all starts with a simple realization. You don't need permission to improve your life. You don't need special qualifications to develop a stronger mindset. You don't need to wait until conditions are perfect. You can begin exactly where you are, with the resources you already have. The same brain that learned old patterns can learn new ones. The same mind that adapted before can adapt again. The same person who feels stuck today can create a completely different future tomorrow. Not because of luck, not because of magic. Because change becomes possible the moment you begin directing your attention intentionally. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more ideas about abundance, subconscious programming, personal growth, sound frequencies, and the psychology behind success, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. And if you'd like to discover the audio tools and sound-based practices that many people are using to create greater focus, clarity, and abundance in their lives, check out the link in the description and the pinned comment below. You might discover that attracting more wealth starts with something much simpler than you imagined, changing the way you experience yourself and the opportunities already surrounding you every day.